Yo, what's good? This is Damone Carter. Welcome to the ImagineSJ web series, where every episode we are going to be talking to an incredible San Jose creative about their creative process, their career, and also give you, the viewer, tips on how to get in touch with your creativity. Again, my name is Damone Carter. I'm a rapper, arts advocate, creative catalyst, Scorpio, podcaster, and the host of this program. So let's get into it. Our first guest is a singer-songwriter who envelops listeners in a dreamlike fusion of jazz, R&B, and soul. Her latest album, Like You, is out now. Joining us via Zoom, welcome Amy D. Amy, what's happening?
Damone, long time no see.
I know. It has been a long time. I was thinking about last March when you were about to do your debut show at Yoshi's, like the day before the world ended. Why am I starting on a bad note? Not sure.
I don't know. You came out the gate with that one.
I know. Just going for the tears early. But we're still alive. It's good to see that you're doing well, still alive, doing your thing. So for those who have never heard your music, who is Amy D?
Well, I am a singer and a songwriter, and I'm deeply inspired by the voice. So whether it's my own or the voices of others, I just am fascinated by our ability to cultivate our own sound and send it out of our bodies. It's just one of the most fascinating and transformative things that I've ever done in my life. It never gets old, and it's never without its triumphs and challenges at the same time. So I'm an artist who's committed to writing and performing purpose-driven music, and I'm super grateful to be a part of an amazing community here in San Jose and the Greater Bay Area. So my journey has been colored and informed by the community that I'm a part of. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
here.
You are here, and you have a new album called Like You that is here and available for folks to listen to. Can you talk a little bit about how the album came together? It's your first full-length release.
Yes.
Yeah, just talk to us about Like You and its awesomeness.
Thank you. Yeah. So my album came out in November 2019, and I worked with a label out of Los Angeles called Unspeakable Records. It's an all-female label that's still around now, and it has a really wonderful roster of artists. But it really started in the gig scene of San Jose. I was playing everywhere, as many places as I could, with a bunch of different bands and projects, and started writing my own music. And in that process, I was looking for a level of quality or like something to make a splash, like within my own community, like looking for the right project and the right co-conspirators to be a part of that. And I'm very lucky. Like along the way, I've played with a bunch of amazing people. But with this project, I really wanted to expand and challenge myself. Like my main goal was to create a body of work that I'm proud of. Like at the end of it, I want to know that the songs and the creative process and everything involved in it really is representative of who I am and who I'm becoming as well. So I reached out to, no pressure. I know, gosh, like underachieving. When I say it out loud, it's a lot, but I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I feel this sense of expectation within myself and also within my community. Like, what are you going to do next? Like, what's happening? Yeah, and so I started asking around for producers. I was like, who can listen to my music with fresh ears and help me build a sound that I can't achieve on my own, or I haven't yet figured it out. So I ended up working with Michael Auberg on the project, who's a wizard among us, and based in the East Bay. Worked with Guapale, Layla Hathaway, like Derek Hodge, like a bunch of incredible artists. So I reached out to him, and it was a good time, and he was open to taking on the project. So I would just I was working a 9 to 5 for a nonprofit at that time. And so any available time that I wasn't gigging or working, I would drive up to the East Bay and we would have these like epic sessions to put this album together. And it took like 3 years, I think.
Oh, wow. Really? Okay.
Yeah. And that's not counting all the gigs and the time writing the music before that point, but it took about 3 years to record it and put it together.
And it really came together. It's an incredible album. It's out now, you know, folks that want to stream it or even purchase it. Who knows? Actually purchasing it.
Or even purchase it. Oh, my lighting got messed up. But this is my album. This is Like You. Here it is. This is called a CD, everybody.
Thank you for the antiquated formats there.
Yeah.
For me, music is situational, meaning like every situation has an appropriate music to go with it. What situations are best soundtracked by Amy D's music?
Ooh. Interesting. You know, my favorite place to listen to CDs, and I listen to CDs. Like, I don't have an aux cable in my car. I listen to CDs or the radio. Like, that's me.
We've had this discussion.
I know.
I think it's
Still,
I think
to
it's
this
very
day.
admirable. That's dope.
To this day, I stream things when I'm at home. You know, like that's what I do. And then in the car, I listen to CDs and things. So, so I've heard that my album is great for driving.
Okay.
Which I love that because
Okay.
that's how I take in a full album from beginning to end.
Yes.
And I think it's around like 50 minutes long. So it's like a perfect, you can listen
like
to it
San
from
Jose to Milpitas.
No, 50, not 15.
No, well, with traffic at
Oh.
about 4:45. That
I guess
would
it
be
depends.
yeah.
I'm close to Berryessa, so or Milpitas, so that wouldn't be. I hope it wouldn't take 50 minutes to get there, but
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
it's
for
it's a
driving-
good driving record. Okay.
driving or like I would like to think that it's a good album for self-reflection and either lifting yourself up or taking the necessary steps to step back and see what's going on in your world.
Ooh.
My hope.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And to that point, the title track, "Like You," which is amazing. I love it. Is an ode to like self-love, right?
Yeah.
Like what inspired you to write that?
Well, I was in a yoga class and I used to practice at Core Power, which I don't know if I'll ever be able to practice at Core Power again.
Shout out to
but
Yoga Studios. Yes.
Shout out. And every class there has a theme, and I went to a class one day and the instructor had like a mantra and she said, "Move like you love yourself, breathe like you love yourself." And that was what she was repeating throughout the whole class. And so I got into the car and I was like, there's something in that I want to explore. So I went home and I just started playing. Like I still think I have the video or I posted it on Instagram or something, like when the song happened, like the really first version of it. So the funny thing is, when I think about the title track to this album and Like You as an anthem for self-love, the funny thing is that the process of loving yourself is ongoing. And at the time of writing it and at the time of making a music video and putting the album out, like I had one concept and idea of what self-love was, and now it's completely different. So So I think that's a beautiful thing. We love ourselves differently as we grow.
We do. And does your yoga instructor get a songwriting credit?
She doesn't, but she knows.
Okay.
I think she has a copy of the album. She listens to it, and every once in a while she'll tag me in something. So she knows.
Sorry, not trying to start a lawsuit. I just want to make sure we're properly accrediting folks here. And then the album ends with another track, one that you're about to put out as a single, correct?
Yes. So I'm finally putting a visual to one of my favorite songs on the album. It's called "The One Not Me." And it's the last song in the album, mostly because it's really different. Like it's only piano and vocals. And I think it's really an homage to my background as a jazz singer. Like
Mm,
my favorite songs in the Great American Songbook and in jazz repertoire are the ballads. Like I
okay.
just love, and I love musical theater too. So it's like it kind of feels musical theater or like a
Oh, I never
jazz
thought about it that way.
standard.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm really excited because we've created a beautiful video in the craziest of circumstances. Like
I was
we
about to
filmed it.
say, tough
Yeah.
to make a video these days, no?
Yeah, it worked out and it's all shot on an iPhone, but it's like
Ooh.
our iPhones are incredible. Like
Yeah.
we can
Yeah.
shoot the highest resolution possible as, it really turned out beautiful and I'm excited to have a release party for that coming up in
Okay.
May so people can
Okay.
keep an eye out on my Instagram. That's the best place to follow.
Absolutely. We will definitely keep an eye out. Let's talk a little bit about your roots here.
All
Are you a
right.
lifelong San Josean?
Mostly, yes.
Yeah.
I went to college in Orange County for
Okay.
4 years and then I came back. So
Okay. What intersection kind of best represents you as a San Josean? Like, what is your when you're coming home? What is the intersection that represents you best?
ooh, what intersection?
Yeah. Are you Alum Rock and King? Like, what are you?
Well, I'm McKee, so
Okay.
that's like the main street. So like McKee and Toyon, pretty close to that
Ooh,
neighborhood.
you are a child of the mountain there.
I'm a child of the East Foothills.
Of the East Foothills. Okay.
Yes.
Um, I always ask that question because I think it says a lot about, you know, your San Jose, what you grew up in. You mentioned you being a product of the Alum Rock Jazz Band
Yes.
as a youth. Can you talk a little bit about that? And also, you have connections as a youth to San Jose Jazz as well, correct?
As
No?
yes, absolutely yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was all the jazz
All
camps.
the jazzes. Yes.
Yes. So my musical journey really set off when I was 11 and I sang in the talent show at Linda Vista. Anyone? I don't know if anyone went to Linda Vista,
Okay.
but
Shout out to Linda Vista.
my mom saw me singing in the talent show and the most dramatic fifth grader, like I was wearing
What
like
song?
From the Bottom of My Broken Heart by Britney Spears. Like this was
Okay.
a moment.
So, the canon of a great American music you were drawing from. Yes.
Wearing like a floor length plum evening gown, like who was I? I don't know, but I was obviously me. And so my mom said there's this jazz camp and I think you should try to come to it. And truly the Allen Rock Jazz Band changed my whole trajectory and really shaped me as a musician and as a professional. Because if anyone knows about this program, like it is truly the strongest, one of the strongest like music education legacies in San Jose, but definitely in East San Jose. It's such an impactful and incredible program. So I was a gigging musician from 11 to 13 with this group, like setting up the gear, getting ready for the performances. Like I was learning the level of quality and expectation of a professional musician at 11, starting then.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And to kind of see, especially from the live show perspective, I know we're coming off of a solid 13 months of no live music, but I think experiencing your music live and your kind of persona and your presence. Love the album, like I said, but I definitely think of you as a great live musician. So it's interesting to hear that started very, very early. Do you remember a point in your childhood where you were just like, I want to be on stage? Or did that take you did you have to kind of work yourself up to it? Are you a natural ham like myself? Or did it take some propelling yourself in 5th grade?
There's a little bit of the I'm a natural ham going on because I'm one of 3 sisters in my family. So I have a twin sister and an older sister. And we were putting on productions all the time.
Okay.
Like whether it was in the backyard or hi mom and dad, so after dinner we're having a show. Like we put on like a production. So that, and then also just like playing piano by myself. Like I was really into music. Like I loved it. And then when all the pop stars of the golden era of pop music in like 2001, 1998, like that type of time frame, Britney Spears, the Spice Girls, all of that. That just kind of awoken this like, oh, there's this whole life we can live. But I definitely go back and forth between wanting to be in a spotlight and the nervousness happen no matter what. It's like there's always the nerves, but there also is this moment of no return where you just like step into it, and got to be okay to make mistakes, but also show up.
Yeah, it's definitely a vulnerable space as an artist to kind of step out, especially for live performance. Have you ever had like a real disaster, like a real live show disaster?
I don't know. I certainly have a lot of dreams about live show disasters where it's like, I can't find the stage. But in terms of, I can't really think of anything that's so disastrous.
Okay.
I think the closest thing is to, in my mind, as the artist self, is playing for a room of people who don't care that you exist.
Yes. So in our conversations, you've mentioned that you really kind of resented the Christmas gig scene at times, doing corporate gigs, which I never saw, but I could just imagine you kind of singing your heart out, and it's just kind of clinking glasses and people talking about IPOs.
I think it's the equivalent of a 9 to 5 for a musician, you know, is to play for an distracted audience.
Yeah. I heard Nina Simone used to actually throw things at people if they made noise during her set. So I'm just giving you some ideas to work with in case, you know.
I haven't done that.
Okay, yet. So let's talk a little bit about your creative process. Kind of the whole point of this show is to, number one, kind of demystify creativity. I think a lot of folks feel like, oh, creativity is the sole realm of the artist and the trained professional. Talk to us a little bit about what your creative process is like. You know, you mentioned kind of just catching a song idea in yoga class and taking it to the piano. Is that typical? Do you kind of carve out time to do writing? Like, how does that show up for you?
It really depends. I just try to collect as much as I can. If I see something, if I read something, if I think of a phrase or something, I try to capture it as soon as possible. Whether I record it or I write down, just want to put it somewhere. I might not do anything with it. I have lots of rough drafts of things that have never been heard by anyone except for me. Okay. So I think that's one of the keys. I mean, I believe that all humans are creative. I don't think that there is a limit to that, or you need a degree, or you need any sort of invitation other than your willingness to be vulnerable, really. I mean, that's what it is.
How do you prepare to be vulnerable? How do you build that muscle as an artist, but hopefully maybe something that people can glean from this?
Well, I think you have to be willing to face yourself first, and also be willing to speak your truth to yourself and in your relationships. Like, what feels good? What feels like a total detour from who you are and who you want to be? And I would say start there. I mean, start there. No, just kidding.
Okay.
But I think one of the most powerful tools that I've developed and become dedicated to is self-reflection, journaling, just like having a conversation with your inner board, your executive board of yourself. Like those moments of just writing and like trying to tap into the wisest parts of yourself
Mm-hmm.
is really important. Like no matter what type of artist you are, if you're a painter, if you're a rapper, if you're a dancer, whatever, I think that connection to self is so important for creative people, but for all humans as well. So
Okay. You
I
heard
would
it
say,
here first. Get your journals out and have a chat. I like this idea of your internal board of directors.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Check in with your board there. Do you feel like doing that kind of reflective, introspective type of stuff? Um, do you think it gives you confidence? Because like once you know yourself, so does that make you like, well, now I can put myself out there because I know who I am? Is it something like that?
I think that's part of it. I also think that those are the moments when you can figure out what it is that you need or that you're craving. So
Mm,
like, you know, even someone who hasn't explored any sort of art form of
mhm,
any kind, I think, what do you need? Do you need movement in your body? Do you need to just like dump out all of your ideas because they're just swirling around in your mind? Like, do you need to drive down the street and just like sing your heart out or do something like there? I think you'll, in the process of writing and self reflection, you tend to like kind of pull away the cobwebs and figure out what you might need in your life.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know the one thing that all artists need. Well, there's two things. One is money. The other is
Absolutely.
the other is attention.
Mm.
It's part of our reason for being. Um, Before we came on, I think you somewhat affectionately referred to me as a diva as I was getting my makeup put on. I was actually going to ask you a question. Now I'm going to ask it. Do you consider that term like a pejorative? Like, do you mind being referred to as a diva?
I think I only mind it because my mom instilled in me as I was growing up, like, don't be a diva, like, don't
Oh,
do
really?
it. But the more that I learn about the artists that I love throughout
Mm-hmm.
time and
Mm-hmm.
hear stories about them, like one that comes to mind is Anita Baker.
Yes.
And I've listened to interviews that she's done, and you know, people ask her, or Nancy Wilson too. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
she's
yes.
like a laser beam. When you hear them speak, like every once in a while, interviewer will ask them. So people say that you're a diva, or people say that this is what's happening, and
Right.
you know, the response is usually yes, because I know what I want,
Mm.
and I'm willing to get it.
Okay. I
And
heard.
so
I heard that.
I think the more that I've become clear in my own vision and as well as my ability to communicate that vision to others, it's just a continuous process of figuring that out. And, you know, I think that there are the divas that are divas for no reason and are
Okay.
not
Okay.
grounded in a sense of reality or kindness.
Mm.
But I also think there are the people who are just so set on a vision and set on excellence that
Yes.
they are put into this like diva category. Like, let's put a blanket, like diva, you know? But I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just the way that it's used. And I don't think it should be used. I think it should be used sparingly and then also not in a derogatory way.
For sure. For sure. No, I definitely would think of you as like the nicest diva. Like not aggressive, but like also things are gonna be right. I've seen you in moments of like, this isn't right.
You're not the
So
first person who said that to me in an interview. I'm like, yep, okay, it's evident.
yeah,
But
I'm reflecting this back to you. That's all.
yeah, of course. But I heard a quote the other day that really just it totally changed my world, which was never sacrifice clarity for kindness.
Ooh. Okay.
And I just went back in
Okay.
like a file drawer in my mind of all the times that I was kind but not
Yeah.
clear.
Okay. Okay. That is I'm now I'm going back in my file cabinet because I feel that since this is a San Jose show, I think that's a California thing. When they talk about a
is.
California niceness, right? Like, do you feel that that's kind of a part of our upbringing, how we are around these parts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that we're too chill.
Okay.
Like but that's also part of who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
The comparison I draw is going to New York. You know, when I go to New York and I see the way musicians interact with each other and the energy, not to say that I love it and I'm like, yes, like everything should be a Shark Tank.
Right.
But I also think that just because you're clear doesn't mean you're not kind. Also, like as an artist, I think if you have a vision and you want to bring it to life and you want it to be a certain way, you have to be willing to have tough conversations and put a lot on the line for what you do.
Yeah. It's you. It's you and your art. So now that we've established that you're a kind diva, do you have a go-to diva move? I saw Shaka Khan not too long ago. She has her own signature fans that she uses because her hair is so massive. But when she's really blowing it down, she'll get her fan going super tough. I know that Mariah Carey will do the I'm perfect pitch right here. She'll do this one. Do you have a move that you do when you're in your diva bag?
Now I'm like, I wish I had one. No, just kidding. I think it's just a tick that I have in general, but I kind of like mess with my hair and make sure it's voluminous. Like I don't want it to be like, I don't want my hair to be matted and flat on my head. I want it to be voluminous.
You do. You're performing, and it's
That's
like
my
volume.
I'm like, must have volume.
Okay.
So that's
okay.
You know,
That is
think
your
that's
diva
it
move
for now.
Okay. This is the type of information you get here on ImagineSJ. We go deep with artists on their ticks. All right, Amy. So part of this show is about giving people something they could do to kind of get in touch with their inner diva. And I know you're a voice coach. I know you do teach.
I do.
So for those who want to like kill the game at karaoke, let's say, what's an exercise that you can demonstrate for our audience that will allow them to just murder at Bamboo 7 once that reopens?
You know, karaoke's hard.
Hell yeah,
even
hard.
for someone who's studied singing for so long, it's a lot of pressure. I think we've done a duet at karaoke actually.
I did like the backups though. I was doing like
that was early on, but it was very telling of our future as friends.
Absolutely.
So one thing is, I think that when we think about singing as human beings, unfortunately, we're so caught up in the results that we tend to, what I call, or what I've been told it is called, is like rear view singing. Like I'm singing, but I'm like thinking about how it sounds, and I'm not with myself, and I'm not even with my audience because I'm like so focused on like, is that right? Like, am I singing a tune? What's going on in there? You know? So a lot of the time, I mean, I think all the reality shows have kind of, in some ways, ruined singing because it puts it on this stage of like, it has to be this. Like, you can't sound any other way. It has to be epic. So I think the number one thing is try to lean into the sensation. Like, how does it feel? Does it feel easy?
Okay.
Or does it feel like fingernails on a chalkboard? Not what it sounds like, not the result, but the process. What it feels like.
Okay.
Because people don't think about it. They talk all day, and our voices and everything going on in here, it all works on its own. But if we don't pay attention to it in some ways, the sensation is everything. That's what I really guides my teaching as well. Like, how does it feel to you? Because the voice is the only instrument that we play blind.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Because if you have a guitar or if you had a trumpet, you're able to, well, go a little deep. I don't want to explain it for you. What do you mean by
I'm just
you play
nodding.
it
I'm like,
blind?
yes. So first of all, I'm blind to my instrument. I can't see it. I can't touch it. I can't mess with it. I can guess, and I can become aware of the sensations. And over time, over 20 years, I've become aware of how my voice functions. And it's a science, you know? What was I saying? Blind.
Yes.
The voice is the only instrument you play blind. And then when I teach other people, I'm blind to my own instrument, and I can't see theirs either.
Oh, okay.
So how can I possibly tell you how it feels to sing something? I can give you an image. I can give you technical explanation. But at the end of the day, like, the way it feels to you is what's most important. So one of the best exercises that I share with my students, but really that anyone can do, is just like sliding, like feeling how it feels to sing higher or sing lower. And do that on a hum, do it on a ooh, you know, so it sounds like this. I'll demonstrate.
Please.
Ooh. And with that, in 5 seconds, you can figure out how high can I go and how low can I go. But it's one of the most gentle ways to warm up your instrument and to explore it too. Just slide up and down and see where it feels good and where it doesn't, or and be gentle.
Yeah, that you have to kill the Simon Cowell in your head that is judging your singing, and you know. Okay.
Well, that and also like singing is good for you. So even if you don't think you sound good, please sing, because it is healing to your nervous system and your whole body. So just sing.
Wow, that's a great way to round off an interview. Amy D, we are so happy to have had you on the program. If folks are looking for you and wanting to buy your music, either in the antiquated physical form or streaming, where can they find you?
First, you can find me on my website, ImagineSJ-music.com. And that's where you can pick up CDs. I got t-shirts, got lots of merch. You can also follow me on Instagram. AmyD_music is my handle on Instagram. And then you can find my album on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. Amy D, like you. Just look it up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in real life at some point when it is socially acceptable to do so.
Thank you so much. I can't wait.
Peace.